Well,
You come down.
which could be good, could be bad.
Was it raining in the lines? Oh, about 300. Yeah, Botown. How big's the Botown fire, Chris?
About 1,000 acres. Always.
And it's hot. It's burning cedars.
Relatively small.
Can't fight it. No, you can't even get around it.
Have you been on that all that time? The three of us are still on? 99? Was I married then?
Your son was born, I know that.
Tell me when we're doing it.
Hey, turn your mic on.
What do you got? 3 o'clock? No, 2:58.
So proud of you. Hey, hey. We can tell. Yeah, you and Kim report next to each other.
Well, I have 3 o'clock. Thank you for all for coming. My name is Rob Stefka. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Community Redevelopment Authority. I'd like to start our meeting, and if you'll notice at the entryway, the rules and regulations for operating the Open Meetings Act has been posted. And today's meeting, there won't be public comment. This is, I think, 2 years is long enough with this project. I think we've all heard it enough times. But we are going to ask Mr. Bacon to come up and explain some certain items involved with the program. But with that, we'll begin and we'll call the meeting to order.
Wilkie?
Here?
Stefka?
Here.
Lucas?
Here.
Patterson? Here. Brulea?
Here.
Mr. Wilkie, I'd like to welcome you to this committee. I think Greg is one to be sure and point out to the public that he's no stranger to service in the community and our boards in the city. He's been chairman and on the planning commission. He's been chairman and served on the Board of Adjustment for many years. I've known Greg for a long time. He's very community-minded. We're really fortunate to have you, Greg, on this committee. Your experience and personality will serve us well. And Greg's been a community member, and his family been in North Platte for quite a while, and he has a significant depth of financial background, and I think that experience bodes well for us in our committee. We want to welcome you, thank you, and support and enjoy your appointment. We're fortunate to have you. Thank you, Mr. Wilkie. So we'll proceed with that, and we will approve the minutes of our November 29th, 2021 meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve minutes from the November 29th, 2021 meeting.
We have a motion and a second. All those, would you roll call approval?
Wilkie?
Yes.
Stefka?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Patterson? Yes. Brulea?
Yes.
We are going to review the Sustainable Beef LLC project and the proposed redevelopment contract. Before we do that, I need to read into the minutes and record members of the CRA committee in accordance with Section 182106 of the Nebraska statute. I formally disclose of my conflict of interest with the Sustainable Beef LLC redevelopment plan application coming before this committee. And as required by this statute, I will abstain and not participate in any action by authority affecting this application, including discussion and voting. And it's been signed by Mr. Wilkie. We'll read that into the minutes. And with that, we will consider adoption and review of the redevelopment contract for Sustainable Beef. Mr. Bacon, thank you, and it's great to see you in North Platte once again.
Yes, it's great to be here. So this is not the final thing that the Redevelopment Authority will do, but it's the second to the last. This is to approve the contract with Sustainable Beef. It has been negotiated over a number of months and probably over a year at least. I would like to thank everybody that's participated in that. The Redevelopment Authority, the mayor has been a huge proponent and has worked tirelessly on getting the details to this point. So this is slightly different than you would normally have occur for approval of a redevelopment contract. Normally, we have a 30-page resolution for you that does two things: approve the redevelopment contract and issue the tax increment bond. This does only the approval of the redevelopment contract. It also is slightly different than prior contracts because this contract provides that you as the authority will take title to the site. You will be deeded the site from the city, and since you are going to be the title holder for a short period of time, there's a specific statute that says before you can approve the redevelopment contract, or before you can sign it, you can approve it, before you can sign it, you have to give notice to the city council. It doesn't say the city council has the ability to do anything about it. It just has to give that notice, and you have to wait 30 days after that notice before you can sign the contract. So that's what the proposed redevelopment resolution has, those terms in it. As it relates to the contract, the terms are pretty specific. Once there is the capital raised, once there is a loan in place, once there is a signed contract in place to build the project, then the Sustainable Beef LLC will pay $142,500 for the site. Then they can begin their dirt work and their construction. There are a number of requirements for Sustainable Beef. They have to invest over $300 million in your city. They have to make reports during the construction as required. They have to use the federal site to check every employee as an eligible employee that's going to be hired at the site. They have to improve or pay for the improvement of streets and water lines that will serve this project. They have to provide a payment and performance bond for those improvements on the public right-of-way. Insurance that runs in favor of this group and the city. They have to retain all of the supporting documentations and prove all of the expenditures for this project, and they have to keep that on file with the city. The one element that is in there that has been a lot of interest in is related to odor control. There are very specific performance standards that they have to meet. They have to essentially build this plant just like the Kuna, Idaho plant as it relates to operation standards for air and odor control. If there is a significant odor event that is documented, that is detectable a mile away from the plant, then there's a process that they go through to remedy that. And as they operate the facility, they have to do it to best industry standards as defined in the redevelopment contract. Once they have all the financing in place, there's an issuance of a TIF bond by this group, by the Redevelopment Authority, for $21,500,000. That's based off of the projections that we got from the local county assessor on what they think this project will assess for. Again, it is not an obligation of the city of North Platte or of the Redevelopment Authority. The only thing that will pay back that TIF bond are the increase in real estate taxes, and if there's a shortfall there, then a payment in lieu of tax that will have to be made by Sustainable Beef. That's the long and the short of it. I'll be glad to answer any questions from the members of the authority. And Mr. Briggs and several of the local investors are here, should you have any questions of them.
Thank you, Mr. Bacon. Any questions for Mr. Bacon?
I've got a question on the odor abatement program.
Yep.
That's not anything that the CRA's ever done before in any of our.
That's true, and it's not enforceable by the CRA. That's only enforceable by the city. Yep.
So if there's an event, that would be reported to the city, and then the city would handle it from there?
Either the city or the company, but it'd have to be detectable a mile away, and the city now has the nasal ranger that they'll probably use to verify that.
And that would be for the term of the contract, correct? Or would that continue beyond the term of the contract?
It would be enforceable. I don't think there's I don't think it's term limited.
Okay.
Under there.
So as long as the agreement's in effect, that would be enforceable on the city?
Yeah, we don't have a drop dead date on that, but any ordinances that the city would have, well, actually, there is an ordinance, I believe, in the zoning ordinances that relate to odor control, so that would be the default to them.
And is it common on the liquidated damages portion of the agreement to have the damages be the remaining balance of whatever the, okay.
Yes.
That was it.
Okay. Any action on your next agenda item would just be for the introduction and passage of the proposed resolution.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Bacon, again. No other questions. We'll consider the adoption of the resolution approving the redevelopment contract with Sustainable Beef LLC, authorizing the execution thereof after the passage of 30 days, providing notice to the North Platte City Council of intent to accept, as Mr. Bacon explained, the redevelopment contract of Sustainable Beef LLC and other matters.
I would move to adopt resolution 2022-1.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to accept Resolution 2022-1, and we will do a roll call vote.
Wilkie is abstaining. Stefka?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Patterson? Yes. Brulette?
Yes.
We have a couple other small items, but before we do proceed, and I want to take a couple of minutes to thank a number of people. And unfortunately, invariably, when you do this, you're going to miss someone, and if I do, I apologize. But at the same time, I sense that it's important that we do thank certain people, because this has been a long process. I want to thank Mr. Briggs and Mr. Kemp, the Wasserberger family and the Olson family and all the people that are involved with Sustainable Beef LLC. It's been a long process, and we're excited and glad that you're staying with the program. We also want to thank your investors, all the families and your staff and the engineers and the construction people. And I don't think we have an idea how much time and effort has been spent by that family, those families, this group, and this LLC. And we sincerely appreciate and look forward to the future of what you are going to help us do as a family in North Platte, Nebraska. The business background in me wants to comment and thank the idea that now maybe, if I understand this correctly, we'll have a better chance for a fair price for our products in western Nebraska with our ranching families and the people that serve and feed our country. And this might give us an opportunity for the families in our area to be paid a fair price for their product. Not only that, but we appreciate the jobs that you're going to bring and those families. I also want to thank the city of North Platte and Mayor Kelleher and his staff and city council and all the work the city council's done. And remember, again, these are people who volunteer and have worked hard to get elected, and about all we can give them is a thank you. I also think the state of Nebraska needs to be thanked, Governor Ricketts, and even the legislature and prior people that worked recently in the legislature to get the money to help this project go forward in western Nebraska. Too many times as vice chairman, my personal feelings have been they always think the sun sets on the west side of Lincoln, if not surely on the west side of Grand Island, but maybe this project we're finally getting some help out west that we deserve and need. I'd like to thank the North Platte Development Corporation, Mr. Pearson, thank you, and your staff, and more importantly, the Chamber of Commerce and all of your wonderful members, of which I think there are over 500, and thank you for your support. The media has always been a great support, and I want to thank them, the radio stations, particularly, and TV, KNOP TV, the news medias, and Mr. Von Kampen, I want to thank you personally. I thought your article on Friday, and I think the headline was beef plant contract details. If you really want to understand this project, don't know much about it, in 17 paragraphs, he did a superb job. I think that's a great job, and Mr. Lobby's also done a great job and on the radio. And finally, we're missing a member, and maybe I'm following suit by expanding this meeting far beyond what it needs to be, but Mike Jacobson has resigned and taken his position, as you know, has been appointed to fill a position in the unicameral. I want to personally thank Mike and publicly thank him for all the work that he's done on the Community Redevelopment Authority. He's the only chairman we've ever had. I've been on it. Mr. Lucas has been on it way too long. But we are excited about the future. And his background with Mike with teaching, I sometimes think we could tell that. Sometimes the bell would ring and he would keep talking. We're used to that in education and our backgrounds. But Mike has a really unique gift that he can clarify and make a complicated process understandable. He's done that for over 23 or 4 years on this committee, and I think that and his service is well appreciated. The difficult thing about blight and substandard is just that terminology. I always wished it would be something different. From the beginning, there was a lot of misunderstanding and incorrect use of that term and a lot of fear, but in the end, we've noticed that it's become a blessing in our community, and that those properties that were in that blighted and substandard area, at least in commercial, seems to sell for maybe a little bit more than those that aren't. So it's been a great tool and an advantage to North Platte that we've received those. And again, I want to thank Mr. Jacobson for his service, Mr. Bacon, the only attorney that we've ever had in the 24 years that I've done this, that you brought every one of those forward. Thank you for your service and your professionalism. And last but not least, the people that serve on this committee, and you're appointed, and I thank your service for that. And in the end, it's always about faith, and faith is in our future, and this is a big step. This is a big project. This is bold. It shows a lot of courage by some people with some strength in their background to be able to do this. This is pioneering. This is what we've been built on, and these gentlemen that sit out there with the hats on will have to be admired for that. And this faith leads us to think of others. That's where I think most of it's directed towards other people, and it's important to ourselves and faith that families will have a better opportunity and a brighter future in North Platte. And because in western Nebraska, we're not friends, we're family. Thank you again, gentlemen. Anything else that needs to come forward for this committee? I might entertain a motion for adjournment. Oh, wait, and forgive me. I thought I was going to end. See what the school teacher. I'm sorry, we do have one more thing. We have to rearrange the thank you, Mr. Bruley, arrange the committee, the chair and vice chair. We need to replace the chair in this committee for the Community Redevelopment Authority. I will open it now for nominations.
I would nominate only because I talked to these individuals and they said that they would serve in these capacities. And Mr. Stefke, you did a great job as chair, and I know that you no longer want to continue in that
No.
capacity.
Well, either that or you listen to this every time.
But however, I would nominate Greg Wilkie as chair and Rob Stefke as vice chair.
And I'll second that motion.
Do we have any other nominations? Mrs. Patterson? Mr. Lucas? We have a nomination for Mr. Wilkie as chairman and Rob Stefke as vice chairman. If not, I will move to close the nominations. Roll call vote.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Stefka,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Patterson? Yes. Brulea.
Yes.
Now, we will vote for the new chairman and vice chairman who were just nominated. All those by roll call vote, please.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Stefka,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Patterson? Yes. Brulea.
Yes.
Any other business? Now, am I correct?
Yes.
Now, we will move for adjournment.
Do you need a motion on that?
Yes, we do.
I'll move.
And we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, roll call. I want to make sure we're all right on this one.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Stefka?
Yes.
Lucas, Patterson? Yes. Brulea.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Bob. You did an excellent job.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Greg, I'm excited to have you on here.
The only thing I might ask is that if there's some things that do not have to be that hearing. Not that I, just, sometimes the only thing we hear about is like, a few days before a meeting, but if there is something.
That's true. Sometimes we don't know what's going on.
Right, right.
The odor thing